Hey guys, welcome back to the Watch Mission. You did see me do an unboxing of this Glycine. This is the AirPilot. It is a quartz movement, and it is from Ashford. So if you, and I'll put a link below, but if you go to their website today, you'll find a pretty good deal for Black Friday. These things are at $229. It says retail is $17.95. Would I pay $17.95 for this? Not a chance. There's no way. Their typical price is $5.95. Would I pay that? That's even a stretch, right? But $229 for a Glycine, I think, is a pretty good deal. It's hard to go wrong, especially consider what I kind of have planned for it. So we'll just take a quick look at it, and then I'll tell you what I'm going to do with it next. So it is a 44 millimeter. So again, it's a little larger than what I typically go for, but I can wear a 44. Right? It is technically too big for me, but I can wear it. It does come with the quick release leather strap that is stamped. It's actually, at first when I opened it, I didn't care for it too much, and I probably will still get a couple different straps to swap this out with. But I do like, it's got a matching buckle on there, which looks really good. And the more I look at this strap, the more I like it. It does have a signed crown there as well, which is kind of cool. And since the bronze look is kind of in, this just, you get a lot for the money here as far as the way that it looks. That it's probably not coming across great here. I'll try to get some better pictures here shortly, but the blue is fantastic. I mean, it really looks good. And it does have a pretty decent lume on it as well. I'll just light it up here for a second. And I won't turn out the lights right now. I might just turn them away a little bit, but it does pretty well. But it does okay, right? I mean, this whole room is very well lit, but you can see that lights up pretty good. So let me turn these back. So it is a chronograph, your typical operation as far as, the larger hand, second hand there is going to be your chronograph only seconds counter. And then to stop it, you're going to go there and then reset. And reset is back there. Being a quartz, of course, you do kind of expect the solid case back, which is perfectly fine. It does have kind of a 3-date window there. If you're going to have a date window, I guess I like that a little better than the single. I'd rather not have a date window at all on almost any watch except like A. Lange & Schoen does great date windows, right? Now you kind of expect that, but normally I just don't want to see a date window on there. But this, I like the way it curves, the way that it kind of flows. It has an expensive look to it, the way they did it, so I don't mind this one so much. So what am I going to do with this one? I am going to probably ruin it, but I'm going to give it a shot. So I'm going to fill this with the oil so that you can kind of see it at any angle as far as how that watch is turned. I've never done it before. I will do a quick video on how I do it or how I destroy it, one of the two, and we can either be impressed or have a laugh. So we'll see how it goes. Thanks, guys. Okay, so what we're going to do is fill this watch with silicone oil. And the idea here is just like the U-boat and Recent watch, just fill it so that it is completely inside the case, over the dial, everything without any bubbles. And then when we turn it like this, we should be able to see almost like a digital display, right? It should come right up against the hands, the dial, everything should come right up against that surface. So we're going to give it a shot here. So yeah, you just need the silicone oil, syringe, a few tools, And I'll be speeding quite a bit of this up just because it'll be too tedious otherwise. All right, yeah, like I said, I'm speeding this up here quite a bit and just recording audio over this. One of the things I found while opening this was this rubber gasket here. Right away I knew was going to be a problem. So the initial plan here was to use, a couple Tupperware containers to make sure it contained everything, which worked out fine. So, you get the case back open, take a look at the movement, make sure you kind of understand how everything works. I thought I would be kind of smart and skip a step, which is not taking out that crown or not removing the movement, thinking that oil, there's no question the oil will seep down inside there. We'll find out later that that was not wrong, that was incorrect. So, initially I was told you have to kind of gradually put in the oil, make sure it's completely covered so no bubbles get in there. But I was getting a ton of bubbles no matter which way I was doing this. So eventually I filled the container just by, lifting up or taking the bottle itself and just pouring it in, which seemed to work a lot better. The oil is pretty thick, so it just didn't produce bubbles when it went in there. But you do want to submerge the whole thing as you're working on it, and that way, as you're working on it, some of those bubbles come out. So, I had to do this whole process twice, but here, if you did take out the movement and the dial, and then you put the dial movement back in, you'd be doing this, which is kind of tilting it, trying to get the bubbles out, that kind of thing. This didn't work the first time, so I had to do it, one more time with the crown removed, and then I just repeated this same process basically. So this gasket was a complete pain. You can tell that it just didn't fit exactly right. So later on in this video, I'll kind of explain a little bit more about what I'm going to do next here. But I am going to have to do this one more time on this watch. But before I do that, I'm going to order from Amazon a whole bunch of different size gaskets if I'm going to do this in the future, as well as to this watch, because this one was, probably a millimeter too big all the way around. And this was the stock gasket, so I was a little disappointed in the quality there. Just, you could tell where they cut corners on here. So, that should really fit on that case back pretty cleanly, so that you can just kind of turn it over. But the biggest problem is when I put that case back on there and that gasket was in the oil, it wants to float, so it doesn't lay within that kind of crevice the way that it needed to be able to get that case back on cleanly. So I had to do this several times to get it right. The other part is I'll probably get a cheap case holder and just submerge the entire case in this exact same container, and that way it kind of stays still, because trying to get that case back to just catch and grip a little bit was pretty tough. And I'm sure I scratched up the case and watch. I have no doubt I was not using the right tools. I was hungry. I was irritable that this thing wasn't working right. So I definitely did it the right way, meaning I knew I was going to use this watch for this experiment. I knew it may completely screw things up, and it did, and that's okay. But one of the things that I have to kind of figure out, and I'm hoping that all I did was kind of short the battery, but I've seen people take the battery out before they do all of this and then replace it, and then I've seen people just do it with the battery in there. But long story short is successfully got the oil in, but the watch is not working right now. And of course, you don't know that until you get everything sealed, you put the case back on, you clean it up, you take a look, and then you find out that it's not working. So I can't imagine I did anything to the movement. This oil is not supposed to, be harmful to the movement, but there you have it. Okay, so I just finished filling the glycine with oil, and it was a cumbersome process for sure. Not nearly as easy as it looks on some of the other YouTube videos. Obviously, it's very slippery. The biggest problem I had, well, I have two problems. Biggest problem I had was the the gasket not fitting, right on there, or the of course the battery or the movement shorting out. I'm not sure which yet. So obviously I'll try the battery first and see what happens. But I'm really thrilled with how it turned out here. So here are some here's before how it looked. So you can see that dial's in there pretty deep. That's just kind of a head-on shot, and the head-on won't look much different to anybody. But when you tilt it now, I mean, that everything is projected right up on that crystal, right? So no matter what angle you see, I mean, it looks like a smartwatch digital display. It's really a cool look. I mean, my son thought, is that a cardboard cutout kind of thing? That's the first reaction he had. But it is a really cool look. So I can't wait to get it to work. But it is worth a shot. Much different than the original look. So thanks for sticking around.